empires of Mesopotamia. We're going to talk about the Amorites, Babylonians, but the Amorites, Babylon Empire. They're known as the Amorites. As you see here, Babylon is the center, it's the capital. At its height around 1750 BC, they wanted riches, and of course they were known for having vicious warriors. When they were invading the city of Ur, this is where Abraham and his wife Sarah were, and they took a small following and marched to the promised land across the desert. That would later become the tribe of the kingdom of Israel. He's one of the founders of Christianity, or the founder. So, of the Old Testament. You need to know Hammurabi. Hammurabi is, he's known as the Lawgiver, but as you see, united the cities of Sumer into an empire, the Babylonian Empire, the Amorite Empire. They conquered lands, as you see, all the way to Asia Minor. Caravans, braziers, trade with Babylon, made Babylon rich. They were known for their military and conquest weapons, as you see, were seized along with chariots and tools. Babylon's finally going to be destroyed in 1600 BC. You need to know, let me see here. There you go. Okay. So you need to know about Hammurabi's code. Write this down and know this. It's called, he's called the Lawgiver because this is going to be the first written law code in history. All right, code of laws were given to Hammurabi by the sun god Shamash, and as you see, laws were to be used throughout society. So his laws, he is the first person to come up with a written law code. I believe there's 350 laws, something of that nature, and they did have double standards. So if, for say, if you assaulted someone of a higher rank in society, a noble, and you were a merchant, you were subject to 60 lashes over the back. If it was a noble fighting a noble, then they would pay a fine. If it was a commoner versus a commoner, they'd pay a fine. If it was a noble hitting a commoner or a slave, that's fine. He can do that. There's no fine. If a woman wanted to get a divorce, she could, but she had to play the part of a fool. She couldn't criticize her husband in public. And if she did, then she wouldn't get anything. So, but the man could actually have affairs on the wife. That was normal. That was fine as long as the other woman was not married. So there were a lot of double standards in these laws. If penalty for theft from a burning house was, they took and threw the thief back in the house or burned him at the stake in front of the house. What was it? Architectural malfunctions, like if a contractor builds a building and it falls down, the builder is executed. These laws were known as an eye for an eye. And that's what this code was known as, the eye for an eye laws. Because if you put somebody's eye out, then they will put your eye out. So, moving on. Here's a picture of the Temple of Babylon, or one of the temples of Babylon. We're going to talk about the Assyrian Empire briefly in another slide coming up, but here is a brief look at them. There is their empire at one time. The capital city was Nineveh. It's on the Tigris River. This is the city that Jonah warned God not to go to, or Yahweh in the Old Testament. It's the richest city of its day. As you see, they easily invaded because of the open land. They always defended land. They became very skilled warriors. Best defense was to attack. So in other words, to continually expand. They have a large empire by 650 BC. Some of their contributions. Nineveh was a city of learning, large library. As you see, hold the clay tablets. The world's first literary work is found here, the Epic of Gilgamesh. And as you see, the knew about early life because of the tablets. So Assyrian contribution, as you see, geniuses at waging war, invented battering ram, pounding city walls, armored chariots. They're eventually going to be overthrown by Medes and the Chaldeans, which we'll talk about them a little bit later as well, really the Chaldeans. And their empire comes to an end in 612 BC. And we are complete. We are finished.